This slot just changed the PlayStation 2, but what is it even for, and how can it make your PlayStation 2 different forever? If you are old enough to remember, you will easily be able to recall that in the early 2000s, the Sony PlayStation 2 wasn't just a game console, it was a cultural phenomenon. With over 155 million units sold worldwide, it became the best-selling console of all time, outlasting its competition and cementing its legacy in the gaming world. Offering up one of the greatest video game libraries in history, the PS2 truly was and still is a fantastic gateway to countless adventures. But what's all the cooler is that these very gateways are suddenly more easily accessible than any time previously, and it's all thanks to the existence of this somewhat mysterious slot. So with that said, joining me today as we explore what it is for and what we can insert inside and how it can change your life forever. I am Lady Decade, and this is exploring the uses for the PlayStation 2's alluring slot. Ah yes, the PlayStation 2, a simply stupendous device that many of us have already sunk thousands upon thousands of hours of enjoyment into. What a sensational system, but as revolutionary as it was, even when we were young, we were aware that the PS2 held many secrets, with a large portion of us in our own ways taking advantage of its mysterious slot even back then. Yep, that's right, I'm onto you. I know you've been inserting stuff inside it, whether you were stashing your cash or using it as a location to conceal your drugs. This extension port served as a convenient hiding place to secretly stow things for teenagers everywhere. But beyond serving a purpose that captured the edgy zeitgeist of the period that the largest contingent of its gamers was experiencing, what if I told you that even back then, some people use this hole for reasons other than hiding their dubious stash? That's right, the mysterious PokeFun slot on the back of the PS2 actually had other purposes. A few in fact, so let's discuss them. Originally, back at the dawn of the new millennium, during the glorious Y2K era, this expansion bay was intended for accessories that could elevate your gaming experience to the next level. The most common use for the extension port was simply to connect a network adapter. This allowed the PS2 to connect to the internet for online gaming, which was an essential feature for some multiplayer games. The network adapter also provided an Ethernet port for wired connections and, in some cases, a modem port for dial-up connections. The network adapter generally performed well for its time, allowing for relatively smooth online gameplay and features like voice chat if supported by the game. However, performance varied depending on the quality of the user's internet connection. The setup process was somewhat cumbersome compared to modern standards, requiring users to input various network settings manually. However, for tech-savvy users, it was said to be fairly straightforward. Unlike Xbox Live, which offered a unified online service, the PS2 did not have a central online service. Each game had its own servers and systems for matchmaking, which sometimes led to inconsistent online experiences. A variety of games supported online play via the PS2 network adapter. Some of the most popular and notable games include Final Fantasy XI, a fully online MMORPG, Twisted Metal, Black Online, which offered chaotic vehicular combat with other players, and Gran Turismo 4, which allowed players to race against each other online. The experience varied depending on the game and region, and I'll be honest, it's not a product I can remember anyone owning in the UK when I was young. However, online gaming on the Dreamcast is another story. But wait, there's more, as there's far more you can shove into that slot than just the network adapter. Building on its uses, Sony released a Linux kit for the PS2 which included a Linux operating system, a keyboard, a mouse and an HDD. The extension port was necessary to connect the HDD, which was crucial for running the Linux environment on the PS2. The PS2 Linux kit was an official development kit released by Sony in 2002, allowing PlayStation 2 owners to run a full Linux distribution on their consoles. This kit transformed the PS2 from a gaming console into a functional personal computer, enabling users to leverage the console's hardware for various computing tasks. The Linux kit allowed users to install Linux on the PS2 by booting from the DVD and setting up the system on the hard drive. Once installed, users could boot into Linux, which offered a graphical user interface and command line tools just like any other Linux distribution. The PlayStation 2's hardware, while not as powerful as contemporary PCs, was still quite capable of certain tasks. However, due to the limited RAM, users often needed to optimize their software or use lightweight applications. The PS2 Linux kit was particularly popular among developers and hobbyists who wanted to create software for the PS2 or experiment with programming on a non-PC platform. It supported common programming languages and developmental tools available on Linux, making it a valuable tool for programming and development. Additionally, the PS2 could be used as a basic web server, file server, or for other networking tasks thanks to its network adapter. Some users even explored multimedia applications or used the kit to experiment with homebrew games, although the limited hardware power posed challenges. While the PS2 Linux kit was not a mainstream product, it has an interesting legacy that demonstrates the flexibility of the PlayStation 2 hardware. You've got to love the PS2. Further to what we've just covered, there was always the simple use of placing an HDD inside the slot. The PlayStation 2 hard disk drive was an accessory designed to expand the capabilities of the PS2, particularly for enhancing gaming experiences and supporting additional functionalities. The primary use of the HDD was to allow certain games to install data directly onto the drive, which significantly reduced load times by accessing more data quickly from the HDD than from the DVD. Additionally, it enabled games to store extra content, such as downloadable content, expansions, or updates directly on the drive, which was especially useful for titles with large amounts of data like MMORPGs. The most notable use of the PS2 HDD was for Final Fantasy XI, one of the few MMORPGs available on the console, which we touched on earlier. This game required the HDD to function due to its massive size and the need for regular updates. Players had to install the game and its expansions onto the HDD, making it a necessity for fans of the title. You could say that a PS2 HDD is a necessity for gracious living. In addition to game installations, the HDD was often used in conjunction with the PlayStation 2 network adapter, which we mentioned earlier, and of course the Linux kit, which we have also covered. But as riveting as these uses from the past for this mysterious slot are, it's what you can do with it today with the use of an HDD, which could literally change your life. These days, enthusiasts often use an HDD on the PS2 for running homebrew software, emulators, and custom applications. While these uses are not officially supported by Sony, the modding community has found creative ways to leverage the HDD for various unofficial purposes. Taking advantage of placing HDDs in the slots, modern-day clever clogs are now breathing new life into the PS2. Thanks to newer exploits, PS2 is having a renaissance of rediscovery, innovation, and a smidgen of nostalgia, and proves the PS2 still has some tricks up its sleeve, even decades after its debut. With the rise of fan-driven innovations and a passionate community dedicated to preserving the legacy of the PlayStation 2, this slot is now more useful than ever, with it becoming the key to unlocking a whole new world of possibilities. This is all thanks in part to some groundbreaking tools, so let's cover them. Let's start with FreeMcBoot, the gateway to customization. Often abbreviated as FMCB, this homebrew software is a free memory card exploit that allows you to run unsigned code on your PS2. Developed by the PS2 homebrew community in the mid-2000s, FreeMcBoot revolutionized how we use the PS2, turning a simple memory card into a powerful tool that can launch a variety of custom applications. What an amazing world we now live in. Originally, FreeMcBoot emerged from the desire to bypass region locks and load games from alternative sources. By installing FMCB onto a memory card, users could access a simple yet powerful menu that opens up a world of possibilities, loading games from USB drives, launching emulators, and even booting directly into Open PS2 Loader. The Open PS2 Loader, or OPL for short, is a game and application loader for the PS2 that allows users to play games from a variety of sources, internal hard drives, USB drives, or even over a network. For me personally though, I use an HDD. Born from the same community-driven spirit as FreeMcBoot, OPL was developed to streamline the process of loading games and reduce the wear and tear of the PS2's aging disk drive. The community behind OPL has continuously updated and refined the software, making it more user-friendly, versatile and compatible with a wider range of games. As you likely already realise, this is more important today than at any time in history previously, as we now find ourselves living in an era where PS2 physical media is becoming increasingly rare and increasingly expensive. Circumventing these issues, FreeMcBoot and OPL breathe new life into the PS2. They allow gamers to preserve their game collections by running titles from hard drives or USB devices, ensuring that the classics don't fade away as discs become harder to find and consoles age. Moreover, these tools make it easier than ever to experience the full potential of the PS2. With faster load times, greater game storage and the ability to run homebrew applications, your PS2 can do things that were unthinkable when it first launched. In essence, that mysterious slot on the back of the PS2 has evolved from an underutilized accessory port to a gateway for modern gaming conveniences, making it more relevant today than it ever was before. Whether you're a retro gaming enthusiast or looking to get the most out of your old console, FreeMcBoot and OPL are the keys to unlocking the PS2's hidden potential. All thanks to the beloved slots where you kept your weeds as a teenager. As for the practicality behind unlocking this hidden potential for yourself, providing you order the right parts online provides you with two options regarding how to move forward. Number one, you can follow online YouTuber tutorials and install everything yourself. Or you can be lazy like me and get a hard drive from Etsy with both FreeBoot and OPL pre-installed. The choice is yours. Anyway, if you watched a video on the PlayStation 2 tech from 20 years ago, one would imagine you adore gaming. For this reason, I should probably let you know that I can save you up to 90% on thousands of modern games via the use of my affiliate links. Not only can you grab some great bargains this way, but every purchase supports a production of videos like this simultaneously. So for that, I can't thank you enough. Secondly, if you want to back my content in a more personal way, you can access my cosplay library and more over on Patreon. I'll see you all again very soon in the next video.